I discussed the E. Jean Carroll civil cases against Donald Trump in a prior video, and I'm not going to repeat any of those comments here. I just wanted to make a few observations about what has been happening this week in the ongoing damage trial. Donald is not very bright for such an extremely stable genius that he claims to be. He is, without question, unable to control himself. Notwithstanding a jury verdict that he had defamed Carroll by calling her a liar and being hit with a $5 million judgment for defamation and sexual assault, which included some punitive damages, Trump continued to make the same or similar statements that the jury had already found to be defamatory after the verdict. It is just unbelievable to me that anyone would continue making such statements after a jury had already found them to be defamatory. A jury is now hearing some of these subsequent statements. Through his inability to control himself as an adult would, Trump has opened himself up to a huge punitive damage award in the ongoing civil trial. Trump was heard in the courtroom while sitting at his counsel's table making disparaging remarks about Carroll that could be heard by the jury. He just cannot shut up. The jury heard him referring to the case as a con job. In a Truth Social post published today, Trump said Carroll had concocted a, quote, fake story. In other words, calling her a liar again. Carroll's attorney is turning Trump's conduct to her advantage and her client's advantage, noting in her opening statement to the jury they needed to think about how much money it will take to make the self-proclaimed billionaire, and that is in quotes, self-proclaimed billionaire, to stop making defamatory statements. And that is a legitimate issue to raise before the jury, and it is relevant to a punitive damage award. No party in a civil trial would be allowed to behave in the juvenile manner that Trump is behaving now. But Trump believes he has a right and has attacked the judge also repeatedly for trying to maintain decorum in the courtroom. This is just another example of Trump believing that the rules and law do not apply to him. Trump said the federal judge overseeing the case had a, quote, major case of Trump derangement syndrome, end quote. Any person who attempts to require Trump to obey normal courtroom decorum rules or to hold Trump to account for his words and actions or criticizing him using his own statements or actions can be dismissed in Trump world simply by Trump and his followers saying that the person is suffering from some mental illness that they call Trump derangement syndrome. This characterization avoids actually having to rebut factually based criticisms or to defend what Donald has said or done. The same tactic and approach is used by Russians when someone brings up an unpleasant historical fact about their nation or how the Russians are actually conducting the war in Ukraine and the war crimes that they are committing there. Rather than rebutting the statements with actual evidence, the person making the statement is claimed to be suffering from a mental illness that the Russians call Russophobia, which is the same kind of response as Trump and his followers use by saying that a person is suffering from the Trump derangement syndrome.